Let's begin by settling the body. Adopting a stable, comfortable, upright position serviceable for meditation. Think about keeping our feet flat and our back straight, torso open, hands in the lap right over the left with the palms upturned and the thumbs gently touching. Our eyes are gently closed or slightly open, making sure we let in enough light to remain alert. And try to maintain an awareness of not slouching, not leaning. Also let go of any unnecessary tension or rigidity in the body. Relaxing into a stable, comfortable, upright position, just allowing the body to fall into place. And we begin to let go of attending to the outside world, allowing sights and sounds to be as they are. No need to investigate, constraining our awareness just to the body and mind. Concentrating that awareness in the present by attending closely to the physical sensation that accompanies the in-breath and the out-breath in the space around the opening of the nostrils. Giving ourselves the instruction to quickly notice when anything other than that one physical sensation is arising in the mind. And then without judgment or frustration to lift our awareness up from those distractions, to place it gently but firmly again and again on the breath. And then when the mind feels more calm, we'll generate a broad and altruistic motivation for our time, trying to take a moment to intentionally widen our circle of concern, trying to embrace countless sentient beings within the field of our practice, by recognizing that in this life we often struggle with including others in our motivation. We often look out primarily for our own interests, our own desires, I think now is the time, having met a spiritual path, to go beyond that narrow, egoistic self preoccupation, to think about the needs and desires of others, to be dedicated to their welfare, to securing their highest welfare, recognizing that there's no difference between oneself and others, that egoistic self preoccupation is simply a habit, and that by recollecting again and again that every other sentient being wishes to be happy, wishes to be free of suffering, and is no less deserving of that than myself, and a new habit, a new tendency can take root, and our lives can become dedicated to securing the highest welfare of all sentient beings. So engaging in that process of transforming the mind is the purpose of our time. And so given that that preoccupation stems from grasping strongly at a very solid, independent, self supporting, self existent conception of oneself, begin to look at that conception. So try to become aware of your sense of ego identity. It can be helpful to think of a time in which you experienced a small embarrassment or a sense of righteous indignation, or when you had a moment of fear, like a car suddenly darting out in front of yours. In these moments, our ego identity asserts itself strongly. It's always present, but becomes very strong in these moments. When you have a sense of that concrete, solid I, the one that feels embarrassed or afraid or indignant, try to locate its source. Is it findable in the body? Go through the body in your mind. If any given part of the body was damaged, altered, even replaced, would you think of yourself as being a different person? Or would you absorb that change into yourself? Go through that analysis of the body and see if what appears so solid is traceable to a part of the body that is responsible for creating that identity. And perhaps the I is traceable to the mind, and yet the mind is a constantly changing stream of mental events, thoughts, feelings, memories, imaginations. So, which of these experiences could be the I? Is it just my happy thoughts, my loving thoughts, my angry thoughts? What happens to the I when the thoughts change? Observe the mind in the same way that you observed the body, and try to determine if there's one part of the mind that is responsible for the experience of this solid, independent, concrete, self supporting, self existent ego identity. by itself. Something that if it were to change or to cease, your conception of self would be fundamentally altered. Recognizing that the ego identity that we're exploring is the one that appears so strongly in this memory. We may think there's a third category, something beyond body and mind. As we often say, my body and my mind, as if there is a third category, something that is the owner of body and mind. But if there is this third option, then we could have experiences that don't depend upon body and mind. We could validly say that we did something in one place while the body was in another? Is it true that something completely separate from body and mind is the source of the ego identity? Have we ever had experiences that in no way depended upon either the body or the mind? It's some completely separate phenomenon engaged in some action. Try to analyze that possibility and see if you can discard it. We may think that it is the combination of body and mind that is responsible for the ego identity. And yet, we analyzed every part of the body and every part of the mind. And the coming together of body and mind is simply a coming together of different parts that are not I. So two collections, neither of which contain the I, can't then contain the I to be the source. So try to now give rise to the wisdom that understands that I do exist, but I exist in dependence upon the body and the mind, and an act of labeling that combination as the I, identifying this body and this mind as the I. Going back to the memory, that solid, independent, self-existent ego identity is what doesn't exist. The mind and body themselves exist in dependence upon their own parts, their own causes and conditions, and the labeling of those parts, those causes and conditions. trying to give rise to an insight that there is this disconnect between the strong, solid I and the conventional I that exists as a designation upon the collection of body and mind. And use that wisdom to argue against that strong, instinctive view of yourself as independent, self existent, self sufficient, self supporting. And then when you're ready, we'll come back together. And we'll dedicate. So recollect your altruistic motivation and think that by having engaged in this contemplation, you've actualized that motivation, which has generated positive energy in your mind. And think that you freely offer the fruit of your practice, that positive energy, for the benefit of all sentient beings without exception. Thinking strongly, when this positive energy ripens, may it serve as a cause and condition to eliminate war and conflict, poverty, famine, disease, disasters, all painful inner and outer conditions. May it fully ripen the minds of all sentient beings. May they quickly meet perfect teachers and arise in the state of full enlightenment. May I too achieve the state of enlightenment so that I might work for the benefit of sentient beings perfectly. May any obstacles facing the Ven.Losang life be completely dispelled, and may I and all sentient beings in this moment come under the joyful care and guidance of enlightened beings. May we be guided and protected until we swiftly achieve that state of enlightenment. Thank you.